Wish you had a customer's full name instead of a first name and a last name? Have you updated branding and need to change every instance of a word? Is your data loaded with extra spaces? Are some values missing entirely? String functions to the rescue. They're underrated, but when you need one, nothing else will do. I'm Woody Null. This is the Null Value Show, equipping you to add value with data and analytics. I've been working with databases for 15 years, and I'm excited to help you learn too. In today's video, we'll learn what a string function is, 8 of the most useful string functions, and an example on how to use each. Stick around to the end for a special bonus tip on using string functions. This video is part of my series on writing SQL. If you missed the previous videos, please go check those out. I'll be using Microsoft SQL Server database. If you're using a different brand of database, most of these functions will still be there, although they might have a different name or work in a slightly different way. Let's start by learning what a string function is. A string function is a function that operates on string data types. String functions differ from other functions like numeric functions or date functions because those functions are designed to work with those data types. The first function that I want to help you learn is one of the most common. It's called concatenate, and it combines multiple strings together, such as a first and last name. There's actually a couple of different ways to concatenate strings. The basic function is called CONCAT. We simply add the arguments in order. For example, we could concat first name, space, last name, and then we could alias this column as full name. The database gives us a calculated field that shows the first name, and then a space, and then the last name. A shortcut is just to use the plus sign between each item. Additionally, we can concatenate a bunch of items with a separator between them. For example, if we want to concatenate a bunch of columns with a comma between them, we can say concat underscore ws. The first argument is the separator, the comma, and then the rest of the arguments are all of these strings that we want to concatenate together. In this case, it's going to be last name, first name, job title, and department. The next handy string is called the trim function. This removes any extra spaces before or after a string. If we have a string with a lot of extra spaces before or after it, we can trim it to just get the main part of the string. For example, this employee's name has extra spaces in the field. When we apply the trim function, we can see that those spaces have been removed. There's also an LTRIM and an RTRIM function that trim only the left or right sides of a string. So we can see that here the left trim has removed spaces from the left of the name, and the right trim has removed spaces from the right side of the name. The third string function I want to show you is actually 2 functions. The first one is called left and the other is called right. These functions get a certain number of characters on the left or right side of the string. For example, if we are having a potluck lunch at the office and dishes are assigned by the first letter of your last name, then we can use the left function to find the first letter of your last name. We put in the name of the field we want and then the number of characters we want on the left side of the string. If we want the first 3 letters, for example, we can say left last name 3, and that will give us the first 3 letters of each last name. The right function works in the same way. If we want the last 3 letters of a last name, we can just say right last name, 3, and get the last 3 letters of each name. My fourth handy function is called SUBSTRING. This will get us letters from the middle of a string. We can specify a start position, which tells it to start at, say, the 3rd letter in, and then a length, for example, 5 characters. In this row, the 3rd character is L, so that's where we're starting, L, and then we're going 5 characters, LES space R. That is a substring. I've got 4 more string functions plus a bonus tip to show you today, but first, if you love data and analytics, please hit subscribe. You don't want to miss the rest of this series on writing SQL or any of the other great content I've got lined up for you. I post a new video every week. The 5th string function in my lineup is actually another pair of functions, lower and upper. Lower changes the entire string to lowercase, and upper changes the entire string to uppercase. Sometimes we're formatting an email address, and we want them to all be in lowercase. We can see that Creed has entered uppercase letters for his email address. So when we're going to format this, we want it to be in lowercase. So we use the lower function to get that lowercase of any string. Or sometimes we're formatting state abbreviations and we want to make sure they are all uppercase. So this will change the lowercase pa to an uppercase pa. String function number 6 is replace. This function replaces any instance of one string with another string. For example, if we have rebranded and we need to change any instance of the old product name to the new product name, we can use the replace function. The first argument is the original string, product description. The second argument is the words we want to replace, and the third argument is the words we want to replace them with. So we can see that every instance of Dunder Mifflin is replaced with Sabre International. The 7th string function for today is called COALESCE. COALESCE checks if a string has a value. If it does, it will give us the value. If the value is null, it will let us display a different value. This can be handy to display something more user-friendly than null. We can say unknown instead. For example, this email address is null, so instead of using the word null, we can say unknown, and that's a more user-friendly way to display the data. The 8th string function that I want to show you today is called len. It tells you how many characters are in the string, or the length of the string. If the product description is too long, people might not read the whole thing. So we can use len to find out how many characters are in it and know whether we want to rewrite it. The bonus tip for today's video is that string functions can be combined together. Let's go back to the case of the missing email address. Although one email address is null, there is a very clear pattern to the other email addresses. First name dot last name at domain name. We could make the assumption that any missing email address will follow the same pattern. We're going to combine several functions to make this happen. First, we need a coalesce, because if the email address is present in this column, we want to show it. The second argument of the coalesce function is what we want to show if the email address is null. So for this, we're going to use a CONCAT function. We're going to do a lower of the first name, followed by a dot, and then a lower of the last name, followed by at dundermifflin.com. I'll alias this column as email filled to indicate that we're making an assumption about what the value will be. When we run this, if the email address is present, we will see the email address. If the email address is not present, we will see the calculated email address based on the first and last name. In this video, we learned 8 of the most useful string functions. We saw examples of how to use each one, and a bonus tip on how to combine several string functions together. If you got value from this video, please click like and leave me a comment with your favorite string function. We'll catch you next time on the Null Value.